I had this friend in high school, and he was clearly my best friend. We didn't use words like that necessarily, but he was my best friend. His mother and my mother had been friends from childhood also, so it was very much two families who were friendships. And we had both moved to a new neighborhood, the same neighborhood, and so we began to see each other regularly and hang out and whatnot. And there was a wider crowd, but he and I were real friends, and we used to hang out over at his place. And we started to see each other separately sometimes. And we were outside of the crowd, just over at his place. Both his parents were usually out during the day, so we would be alone in the house in suburban Long Island. And one day we were building this model city, a plank of plywood and cardboard houses and whatever, and so we were kind of at that stage where that kind of stuff was fun. And I think it was his suggestion, but I'm not sure which. We also started to play a bit with each other and did some jerking off. We didn't define it in any way. We didn't even think in terms of homosexuality or anything like that. It was simply fooling around, experimenting. But there was a lot of guilt attached to it. I was raised a Catholic, went to Catholic school, both grammar school and high school, a Catholic school. So in those days, I'm talking about the early 60s, in those days, masturbation was a mortal sin. You could go to hell for that. I would go regularly to confession. And I remember on one particular occasion confessing to this masturbation with my friend. And the priest gave me absolution and all of that stuff, but he told me that I had to stop seeing my friend. And even at that point, it didn't make any sense to me. It did not make any sense that if you're talking about love and all that stuff, that you should stop seeing a good friend. So I did not follow that advice. Well, after a few years of being good friends with Mickey, suddenly my parents forbade me to see him anymore or to go over to his house. And I had no idea why. All right, they did not say why. They just said, you're not allowed to do that anymore. We met secretly. Where we lived in the suburbs at that time, there were occasional plots of land probably in dispute, but for whatever reason didn't have a house built on them. It would be a few trees, and in this one case I remember there was a half-dug hole, so you kind of got down in it and felt like nobody could see you. And when we met, we would meet there and hang out. I found out a good number of years later that the reason why we were forbidden is because his father had sexually attacked, I don't think successfully, but had sexually attacked my younger sister. And that was the reason for it. I was a year ahead of him in school. I went away to school before he did. In that time period, he and his family moved elsewhere. And I understand that at one point he called my parents trying to find out how to get in touch with me, and they refused to tell him. And I think about him a lot, actually. I mean, in retrospect, I think of him as my first love, although I certainly wasn't anywhere near defining it that way at that time.